So the big question is this: how do real estate investors who don't have a ton of free time, don't have access to off-market deals, and didn't start life on third base, how do we conservatively grow our real estate business to support our families, finally leave the corporate rat race, and build a legacy? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Ed Matthews, and this is Real Estate Underground. Greetings and salutations, Real Estate Undergrounders. It's Ed Matthews, and thank you so much for joining us today. You know, this is another one of those cool episodes where I have coerced some really accomplished investors into joining the show. And the cool part about having a podcast is they're here and I'm fired up, but they might not have returned my phone call had I just cold called them. So awesome, you know, that I've got a podcast, and even better that I have Jenn and Stacy Conkey here. So nice to see you. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. And welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. It's nice to meet you too.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you, Ed.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's so, you know, it's a classic story. I've been stalking you on YouTube for a little bit, and somehow our producer Janice, thank you Janice, wherever you are, had coerced you into joining the show. So welcome. And
Thank
so
you.
For those folks who haven't discovered you yet, can you tell us a little bit about who you folks are and the Remote Multifamily Investing Academy, and we'll get the ball rolling from there.
Sure. So we're Jenn and Stacy Conkey, and we didn't start off investing together because both of our journeys started about 20 years ago. We have kind of different stories that merged us together around 2015. And anyway, so we've both been investing for around 20 years. And our journeys both led us to, through single families and flipping and all of the different strategies through small multifamily, residential, to our focus now over the last several years, which has been apartment investing. So, and teaching and training, because that for me has always been a huge passion. Even when I was an accountant, I was like, let me teach you about debits and credits. They're the most amazing thing ever. But, not everybody agrees, and that's okay.
No, I'm not that guy. I married that guy. I married that gal instead. So it's much better. He's way smarter too. So thankfully.
So we enjoy doing real estate. Real estate is just logical. Like the numbers, it just makes sense. It's a great way to build wealth. And I don't know that either of us are like passionate about real estate. I love real estate. It's cool. But I personally am super passionate about helping like the next generation of people go through this journey in a way that is so much less painful than it was for me, and to really have success and don't give up on their dreams, because this is totally doable if you do it right. But that's
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, you already nailed it. We've been doing real estate for over 20 years. And for the first 12 of that, it was very much individually, and until our paths intersected. When it did, Stacey, I realized, was very, very good and very skilled at taking some complex, topics like real estate and investing and financing and all that stuff, and breaking it down in an A to Z manner. And she was also extremely good at explaining, super patient, gracious, which somebody like me needed, because I'm a very visual learner, and I'm also a shark. So I'm like, once I decide, it's like fire, ready, aim. But once meeting her and learning how to look at it differently and really getting down to a keystroke level of things, it made me realize, wow, you have a gift. And she had been teaching people one-on-one. And I wanted so much for that 12 years that I was grinding by myself. I wanted so much to have a community of people that I could just say, hey, Ed, I feel like this contractor is acting, without any integrity. What would you do? But I didn't have that. And so there were pains, there were very long, dark nights of the soul. And I wanted to create a community. And so I convinced her, let's take this one-on-one strategy of coaching that you're doing, and let's do one-to-many. And that is why we ended up doing the academy. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's amazing because the fact is that once you figure out the opportunity to scale, you can help a lot of people. I mean, you've helped well over 1,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Thousands,
plural.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And well, thank you and congratulations. The thing that I'm curious about is the transition from, the grind, right? In terms of moving from single family to small multi to, medium. I refer to it as, I steal this from my friend, Margaret Kozlark, that it is a microfamily is the term, the smallish, 20 to 50 units. And then above that, right, is traditional big box multifamily. So I'm curious about your journey in terms of how you navigated. When was the right time to take the next jump? Did you skip any steps? And if so, why?
For me, I started in 2002 with flipping and wholesaling. I started it with my brother. He kind of showed up, took me for a drive, explained it because I was ignorant to it.
Yeah.
I was working at corporate America as in an executive leader position.
Okay.
And I just did flipping and wholesaling with him for a while. And then I liked it. And I eventually decided buy and hold was the way to go. But I did all small residential until I met Stacey.
Okay.
So that was in 2015. And one of the things that I realized is like she was already teaching people how to do apartments by then. Yeah. And she had a really cool strategy for doing it, which was joint venture. And for me, I thought, that's exactly what I would want to do versus hopping straight into doing syndications until I know more about it. But I wanted to learn about it. So we did. We went and got our commercial training to learn about syndication, then went to go implement and thought, oh my God, it costs a lot of money. I have to get a securities attorney. I got to get a PPM. You know what? Scrap that. Let's just go ahead and stick to the smaller micro buildings that you were talking about and leverage joint venture until we can, get comfortable with that and stair step into a larger building, which is, ultimately why we decided to use a stair step approach when we're teaching other people also. So skipping steps, I've done that before and it's costly.
Yeah. And I hear you because I've had a similar transition. I'm 6'4" and I used to be 6'7". It kind of cut me down. The fact is that there are a lot of things that, had I met someone like you or, someone else along the way, I probably would not have done a whole bunch of dumb stuff that slowed me down. Right. And, because the thing is that like you, Jen, I started out as a flipper, right? I bought my first property was a multi, but I realized I don't have any more money. So I got to go make some more. Right. And so, I would flip properties and I realized that very quickly, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. And I was telling this to another guest last week, flipping is without a doubt my cocaine. I absolutely love everything about it. Right. But the problem is that then, entrepreneurial ADD kicks in and, you build a business around flipping and it's kind of like empty calories, right? In that, you build one or you buy one, you fix it, you sell it, and then you got to go do it again, or you don't make any more money. Right. And, that was the thing that I had a friend of mine, she was a property manager. She's like, you're not doing this right. I'm like, okay, educate me. Tell me what's going on here. She goes, what is your ultimate goal? And I said, well, it's to build wealth. And, we can get into my why. But, the fact is that she's like, you're not going to get there. I mean, you'll get there, but you're going to be 105 years old.
Tired.
Yeah, way tired. And so, that kind of opened my mind into, okay, I need to focus. And so when I went full time, I focused pretty much right out of the box on multifamily. And so I've been in that world for not as long as you, but about 4 or 5 years in earnest. Anyway, enough about me. So in terms of the academy, I'm always interested in how you work with people. Like, there are plenty of folks out there that are online courses, but I actually think, having known you at least through YouTube a little bit, you take a very different approach.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
It's funny because when we, Jen is the one who had brought up the, switching our model because I would just do one-on-one. So I was always traveling. Yeah. We have 4 kids. So that was a little bit challenging to do what your heart is passionate about doing, but then missing out on, recitals and baseball games and stuff. But when she had brought up the idea of doing one-to-many, and we really started in earnest talking about that, one of the things that I had shared with Jen, and it's no secret because I don't know if I talk about it in YouTube videos, but I talk about it when I'm talking about stuff in general, is when I got my education back in 2003, I spent $40,000 to get an education in real estate investing because I was like, I'm totally doing this. I want to do it, but I have to know how. So I'm going to invest in my education. Right. And the education that I received was awful. Like it was, I didn't know it at the time because, all is everything is new. But when I went to implement it, it had so many holes in it that every single step I took, I was like falling on my face. And financially, it was horrible. So I became very passionate in my first year. Like if I ever figure this out, and I was not convinced I would at that point, but if I ever figure this out, I'm going to go back and teach people the right way because this is crazy. People are going to lose money. They're going to give up on their dreams and they're going to think they have to stay in a job forever. And that's that's not okay. So I was very passionate about that. And then going back and starting to teach and teaching for other organizations, one of the things that was very disappointing to me, I was just the educator. I wasn't the business owner. I was just training for someone else, other people, is it felt very much like it was all about just checking boxes.
Yeah, it was a factor.
So yeah. And it was like, okay, cool. Did we do this for the student? Did we give them this binder? Did we give them this class? Okay, check, check, check. And nobody seemed to care about what actually legitimately happened in that student's journey or life. And so when Jenn and I started talking about doing this and starting the academy, I was like, you know what? I honestly, I want to disrupt the multifamily education industry because I don't feel like anybody, this may not be true that nobody cares, but it certainly felt like it when I was on the inside. This is many, many years ago, but I was like, nobody cares and somebody needs to care. So when we created the academy, Jenn was like, well, it's really important to me to have community. And that was not a thing for me. That didn't even occur to me. She's like, it's really important to me that people have a place to come in, talk to each other, share resources, share ideas, lift each other up, have a place to just like unload or get advice. And I was like, people need to have coaching. They need to not just have an online course, because we made an online course and it's amazing. But frankly, it doesn't matter if you have nobody to ask questions when you're doing it, because there's a million different things that can come up. Yep. So when we developed the academy, we began with the end in mind. And the end in mind for us was not how much money can we make, because we don't the academy doesn't do anything for us financially.
And how many units do you own at this point? Is it really about money at this point? No, you can stop and you'd be fine.
Exactly. So we started off with, it's all about results. So when we started the academy, it was, how do we structure this whole thing so that our students get results? Because I know for a fact, not very many people get results in multifamily or any kind of real estate education. There's not a lot of results that happen. It's a lot of checking off boxes. And so that's how we structured the program. So it started off with group coaching on Zoom, because we happened to launch right before COVID hit. So that worked out. So we did group coaching on Zoom. Every one of our students has a one-on-one coach. All of our coaches have 15 plus years experience, and we've worked with all of them.
We've been doing deals with them the whole time, so It's like, we don't just bring anybody off the street. They have to know our system.
Yeah. And then they have the community part of it is networking on the calls and having a Slack channel so that people can post deals and talk to each other and encourage. And then we do live events every quarter so people can get together and do that. I feel like there's so much more. Oh, mindset. Go ahead.
I literally was just going to say,
I'm all passionate barfing at the mouth. Sorry.
Selfishly also, when creating it, I wanted to create sort of a farming system for people that could bring us deals and that we could do deals. But I wanted to be able to watch them for a couple of years. So in the academy, everybody that's in year one, when they're done, they want to be in year two. And then by the time they get to year three, they're in year three, we're doing deals with them. And then by the time they're doing deals with us, they never pay tuition again. And we just build a skyline together. Right. And that was my way of saying, hey, we can really leverage ourselves and economize our activity by teaching people our exact method, watch them for the first couple of years, make sure they're not taking shortcuts, and then get them on the team, build an acquisitions team, and have them bring everything to us. And we do deals with them. And then we are collectively building a skyline. And that's why the academy is not necessarily a profit center for us. Yeah. In that way, it's a profit center in terms of building a portfolio and a skyline eventually, for a cash flow machine.
Yeah. And that's just proof positive how much you folks care, right? Is that, you're investing multiple years in these folks. And the thing that I heard from both of you, you didn't actually overtly say it, but I know it exists, is the accountability factor, right? And, I met a lady, Casey Franchini, probably about a year ago, and she has a single family training. And that was one of the things that we talked about on that episode, was that the accountability piece was so important because she's had experiences. Clearly, you've had experiences. I have had local, experiences with local organizations where, they have hundreds of students. And when I came in as one of the partners, first question I asked is, okay, well, how many of your, however many there were, students actually bought a property? And the answer from the folks that we were acquiring the entity from was 5%.
Yeah. That's not okay.
Exactly. That's why we need to be disrupted.
We literally let our students know when they come in, we score you. Our team scores you. You're either red, yellow, or green. If you're in the yellow, you're going to hear from your coach. You're going to hear from our chief experience officer. If you get to the red, I'm calling you. Yeah. Our number one value is results. And if you're not getting results, I'm going to call you myself and say, what's up? Why are you stuck?
Yeah.
Let's get you
throw an arm around
popped over and get into action.
That is a great idea. I'm going to borrow that if you don't mind. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Because, the second I heard that, I was on a mission, right? Okay, I'm going to talk to every one of these people that will respond to an email or a phone call as soon as possible. And I want to find out why, right? And it's the classic, it's the classic challenges, right? I don't know where to find the deals. I don't know where to raise the money, and I don't have any money. I work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I've got 4 kids. I've got, parents I have to take care of. I've got a spouse or a partner or whatever, that expects me to be around on Friday and Saturdays to help out with stuff. And, life gets in the way. And, when I dug into those questions or those concerns, almost always it came down to fear. Right. I'm, in some way, shape, or form, I heard I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. And so next mission, right? How do, folks like you and folks like me, let them know it's going to be okay. Right. And so I'm curious about, Jen, when you throw an arm around someone, if I'm a red light student and I get, and I see you pop up on my cell phone, it's a little anxiety. So what I do, so I'm curious, what is your approach in terms of how you get folks back on track?
Yeah. So it's probably one of the most critical ways that we differentiate from any other training organization out there is that I'm an NLP master practitioner. And I'm all about mindset and peak performance and flow. I even have a mindset coach team in the academy that I've trained over the years. I've paid for them to go get NLP certified with my teacher. And it's really about getting that culture in where there's 5 reasons why people quit. And it's very simple. And so I teach that all the time when people first come in. The 5 reasons. The first one is they have the wrong motivation and they don't understand why they're doing this, like why this is a must for them. And when you do understand why it's a must for you, you will figure it out and get super resourceful. And when you hit your first challenge, instead of falling back to what's comfortable and familiar, you're going to surge through knowing that you must. So that's the first thing that we do. And so when I reach out to somebody, the first thing I'm asking is, hey, I'm noticing that the results look like you're stuck, but I also don't want you to focus only on results. I also want to focus on the process that's resulting in these results. Yeah. So what's your process right now? Walk me through it. And 9 times out of 10, they're not making the phone calls because they don't want to cold call somebody, or they can't make up their mind. They're in analysis paralysis. But it all comes down to they're either worried about the future and how they're going to look on a call, or they're caught up in the past and the identity that they have in their current role or their current job where they're a subject matter expert. And now this is new, or they're too obsessed with themselves and how silly they might look. If they ask a question, it might be the wrong question. So that's usually those 3 things. So I'm usually trying to change their state, their mental state, change their story. And then once I do that, I can change their strategy. And I could usually get somebody to make a decision and get back into the game with 1 phone call. Sometimes it takes 2, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm listening to where are they stuck and what, because the life you focus on is the life you get. So what are they focused on that has them with blinders and not really seeing what's possible for them?
Right. Yeah. It's almost like they aren't sure they deserve to be successful.
Oh my gosh. Most of them are afraid of their own success because that means, what do I got to do once I get it? Oh my God, how do I keep it? And what if I mess that up? And now there's higher expectations of me. Yeah.
It's interesting. I had a conversation with my 16-year-old. She's a softball player and she's pretty darn good. And so she's on this national team and, she's struggling. And I'm like, all right, well, you made the team, so it's not physical, right? How are you feeling when you get out on the field? And she's like, I'm not sure I belong. I'm like, okay, this we can fix. Your problem's between your ears because physically you can do this. So, and that's actually ultimately what her coach said too, was he referred to her as having a little bit of deer in the headlights for the first couple of tournaments. But once she realized, you get those, and this is true of real estate investors. This is true of kids playing softball, you name it, right? That 1%, you get that little teeny win and you build off of that, right? And, building off of what you were saying about NLP. So I'm a Tony Robbins guy myself. And so I was picking up what you were putting down. And the other part of it is, I've got a fairly profound case of ADHD, right? And so, I'm the entrepreneur with the shiny objects, and I'm always, looking at what's in my periphery, not what's in front of me. And, that is one of the things that the tools that I've learned over the years is to do that minimally. What's the minimum step I can take right now? Because I'm stuck because for whatever reason, I've got shiny object syndrome or I'm scared or whatever. What's the one thing I can do right now that can take me one step closer to that goal? Right.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that too, Ed, because this will help you and maybe it'll help the listeners too, but add a second question to that and add the question of what must I do that I don't want to do? in order to get the outcome I want. Because
Love
that's really where the rubber meets the road. It's, you know what you need to do subconsciously, but you don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, my business planning exercise is RPM all the way, just to go,
Yep.
Sorry if you don't, rapid planning method is what it is. You Google it. It is a miracle, but that is exactly how I operate, on a monthly and a quarterly and an annual basis. Is okay. What's the big hairy goal? Here are the 20 things I can possibly do to go get it. And how's it going to feel if I hit it? And how's it going to feel if I don't hit it? Okay. And how does that line up with my purpose? And from there, it gets a lot easier. It gets way less intense in terms of being able to move forward, because the path kind of opens up. You just pick one or two things off that list and you just go do them. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you do the next thing and then the next thing. Pretty soon it's December 1st and you're like, I blew my goal out of the water. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Right. So I think if you put your mind to something and you get it right, pretty much nothing you can't do. So
can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I can't remember what word you used before. You didn't say worthy. You said, yeah, but there was something else. Whatever you said, I was like, oh my gosh. In May, when we had, because we have our quarterly events in May, when we had our live event, Jenn decided for our people who came, she did was it hypnosis, you are worthy, or just a meditation?
It's a hypnosis.
Okay. So she had done a live hypnosis meditation for everybody. And some people who were like, oh, I'm not comfortable. Like
right.
Maybe 2 or 3 people were like, oh, I'll stand out of the room. But everyone else, participated. And it was very interesting because of the two of us, Jenn's the more like the woo, NLP, woo, all the things. I'm starting to get into it. But she's very much into, helping people in that way. And so the one she did was called You Are Worthy. And it was very interesting because the conference is a business conference. It's for real estate investing, but we have a very heavy mindset component. Yeah. And when she did that hypnosis meditation afterwards, the amount of like relief and tears, it was really amazing to me. And I already started suspecting, but I started realizing just how much this and any business is about not just mindset, but what our past. And if our mom didn't say we were good enough, or somebody on the field teased me about having, short legs or whatever random thing. And so all of us, all business people, all people have stuff that's from the past that we don't even know is operating back there. And it sometimes stops us. So is that one on the YouTube channel?
It's actually on our YouTube channel on the mindset playlist.
Okay.
It's like meditations with Jenn or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. I will be.
Yeah. And we just recently had someone on our team add those on there. And that's why I wasn't even sure. I'm like, is that one on there? But if anyone's dealing with I don't know if I belong, or I'm not sure if I'm worth it, or I don't know if I deserve it. I think you said that. I don't know if I deserve this. That's a really good one to help clear out some of that, because sometimes it's not even the next technical step. The step, but why aren't you taking it? There's something going on in the background.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. A motivated seller just filled out your web form. If you call back within 5 minutes, you're nearly 4 times more likely to get that seller appointment. But delay your follow-up by even just 10 minutes? Forget it. You're toast. Ella Vista Connect calls that lead back in 60 seconds, qualifies them, and schedules your meeting. Find out how much slow follow-up is costing you. Free calculator at ellavista.com/underground.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is that there are a lot of people, everybody's dealing with something, right? I mean, I was in corporate America for 24 years plus, and I got to the corner office and went, really? That's all this is, right? And the other thing I realized, right? And then the other thing I realized really quickly was everybody had the same insecurities that I did and the people around me did. I met really successful, just unbelievably impressive people. And when you get to know them, they're like, wow, he's actually just a regular person. And so that, for me, that was empowering, because I'm like, all right, if the guy I look up to or the gal I look up to is scared, nervous, uncomfortable in doing what they're doing, and they still do it, there's no reason why I shouldn't, right? And it was like a breath of fresh air. And it's one of the things that I really love and admire about NLP and Tony Robbins and his teachings is just that, right? Everybody deals with this. You're not different in that respect. And so get over it. everybody is, everybody's dealing with something. And the fact that you recognize that and it's a big part of your course curriculum is really exciting.
There's a lot of purpose to it.
Right. And so we're going to get into that in a little bit. But, in terms of I think you have a book coming out, or you have a book out, actually. I take that back. So tell me about the book, and then I'm going to get into the final four.
Yeah, it's right here. It's Multifamily Freedom Hacking.
Okay.
Your playbook to long-term cash flow.
Okay.
It came out in May. It came out in May.
Yeah, right before our event.
Yeah. It's a good book. It literally, the first 6 chapters are all about mindset because that's 80% of this business. It's 80% of life.
Yep.
And the 20% is in the mechanics of what you're actually doing in real estate. So the first 6 chapters are all about mindset. It's workbooky, if you will, in that
Love
book.
that.
It's not just a marketing book. It's an actual book.
It's an action plan.
It truly is a playbook with actionable things inside of it. We love it.
Right.
We were very excited.
Yeah. And like I said, I think I mentioned this before we started recording. I just discovered it this morning. So you're going to see an ed@clarkst.com come across your database because I'm going to order it because I want to read it.
I love it.
The thing is that it's something that's there. I mean, I've read hundreds of books on this stuff, right? And almost all of them are fluff, right? Yeah. And I mean, even Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I read every year, there isn't anything really, it's a mindset game, right? I mean, a book, but okay, what do I do next? Is one of the things that I found missing in that, right? And I found it missing in most of the books that I've read, in that, and it's one of the things that I aspire to is okay, here is the plan. You do this and you make a choice. Then you go here or here, right? And you move forward with a concrete plan, because if you have a plan in place and you know what you're supposed to do next, you also know if you're on track. Yeah. And if I'm on track, I don't get a red score and get a phone call from Jen. I get a phone call maybe from my coach because I'm slipping behind a little bit, but that's okay. It's having that action plan is so important. I mean, I'm a systems guy. It's the only way I get through this business. And, it's interesting. I had just for those folks out there, I had a bit of a medical issue in the spring and I was out for like 10 days. And I mean, out, like my wife took my phone and I was cut off from the world. It was 1985 in my world. Right. And the thing is that I got back to the office expecting a nightmare, and my team, all the bills got paid, all the residents got served, all the construction was on track, most of it, it just, social media was still, being published because we tend to be way far out ahead anyway. But, everything happened. And the reason that it happened is because we have built systems so that everybody here, and like your students, everybody knows what's next, right? What are the 3 things I got to get done today? And it's so important. So right now I run the risk of making, what is usually a 30 to 35 minute podcast, a 2-hour podcast. And so maybe we'll have to have you come back and we'll do part 2 some other time. But in the meantime, I would like to ask you, let's get into the final 4 and let's talk about this. And I'll leave it to you two to decide who's going to answer what, or both, or whatever. So, one of the things that I always cherished in my own travels is mentors, right? And the fact is that I've learned, as much as I learned in school, not so much. I had more fun in school than that. But the things I've learned in the real world have been basically at the feet of people who were, we're all reading the same book and they're 5 chapters ahead of me. So they could help me kind of jump. Russell Brunson said that a book is 10 years, of someone's life. And so you can start in year 1 and jump to year 10 just by reading those 200 pages. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. Yeah. And so I'm always interested in mentors and, who's helped you kind of jump forward, and, what's the best advice you ever gotten and who gave it to you?
Well, for me, it's definitely Tony. We're platinum partners with Tony. He's our mentor. And what he says all the time is it's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. And that hits me all the time because I constantly, when I'm facing a challenge, sometimes I forget how many options I have. And it's because I don't feel like I can see them. But if I could just slow down and think about, okay, and ask more effective questions. That's another thing he always says, like, don't ask the why question, ask the how, the what, the who, the when, the where questions. And that has always been helpful to me.
For me, it's the same person, because my journey in 2003 started at a UPW event, Tony Robbins. And that was what set me on the path that I'm on now. But one of probably the biggest things from Tony that's made an impact on my life is when he taught us to, I thought you were going to say it when you said along the lines of ask better questions, but it was, the question is, what else could this mean?
Mhm.
Because, every day in business, things are coming up that we have to handle and face, challenges and things like that. And I think solving problems is fun. So I don't mind it, but sometimes you have an emotional reaction to something, or we're angry about something, and something that Jen and I will ask each other, because depending on which one of us is like all fired up about something,
It's usually me.
it's usually Jen, but sometimes me.
No.
But the other one will ask like, well, what else could it mean? Because when we see a challenge, or we think someone's doing us wrong, or someone's slacking off, or whatever the issue is, what are the other possibilities that could be, showing up as this behavior or in this way? And what baggage am I holding on to in the background that I'm assigning a meaning to that might not be there at all? And that's made a really huge difference for me in the past couple of years, is looking at that. So one, it's absolutely 100% Tony Robbins. There's a lot of great mentors out there, but he's our number one.
Yeah. But that perspective, going through that process that you just described, it creates a perspective. Even if you're in the middle of it and the world is spinning around you, it gives you that moment of take a step back and look at, exactly what could this be actually, right? There's the emotional reaction, which, I'm an Irish guy. I tend to be like, I'm more a Jen than a Stacy.
I'm Irish too.
Right there. All right. And, almost always when I look at a situation like that, my wife Patricia is a very calm person. Almost always when she's like, are you looking at this right? She's right and I'm wrong, because I'm too in it, And so that's valuable information. So, okay. Next question. Everybody, leaders almost always universally are readers, right? And, reading these days can be a lot of different things, podcasts and audible books and physical books and conferences and YouTube videos and whatever. So I'm curious about two things. One is, how do you consume information? Like, what's the way? I mean, because I'm sure you're all busy, you're as busy as we all are, but also who are you paying attention to these days? And you can't say Tony Robbins.
No. Well, obviously it's Tony.
Right.
Well, for us, we have a pretty cool routine every morning that we do like clockwork. Obviously, Tony taught us how to prime the morning, but I love Ed Milet. I love, and I literally pay my children to watch Ed Milet YouTube videos, and I will join them for school on Saturdays, right? But we also have a very cool rhythm on watching Joe Dispenza trainings on Sundays. And so those are my two right now. It's really Ed Milet, Joe Dispenza, and really because I'm trying to learn about the quantum. But the way that we consume information just on a daily basis, we're daily readers. And for me, I like to read it while also listening to the book, because
I do the same thing.
It helps me stay focused.
My comprehension is off the charts.
Both of you.
It's like it helps you stay focused, and it's two modalities, which I think is, we're unicorns, Ed. So
we're special.
I'm an Irish unicorn with you. Yes.
And Stacey, your turn.
Well, I was just going to have Jen answer that one, because a lot of it we do together. I do prefer audiobooks. Because I am definitely an ADHD person. I like to have many things going on at once, because, I want to be as efficient as possible in theory. But I like to listen to audiobooks while we're either walking or riding a bike, or if I'm, putting away laundry or some, god awful household chore. I like to listen to books. My primary modality is audio. And so that's what I like to do. But like, I am listening to like Who Not How. I think that is an amazing book. I'm about to listen to, I think it's called The YouTube Formula.
10x is better than 2x.
10x is better than 2x. And then a book that I just heard you mention it on your book club today with the guy who you said you want to have to come one of our
Never
events.
Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference. That is
Chris Voss.
One of my favorite.
Yes,
Chris Voss.
Yep.
I loved that book. But
Brilliant book.
Anyway, here I'm jumping all over the place. But
no, it's
audiobooks,
fine.
and I love watching Ed Milet too, because a lot of it he'll be like, I'm kind of teaching you guys and talking to you about stuff that I'm actually having issues with myself. And if I teach you, it makes me get stronger. And we gotta do the same.
Yeah. Right. And the thing is that I find that when I decide, okay, I'm going to teach a subject, I go so deep into it that I learn a massive amount. So by the time I get in front of whoever I'm going to be in front of, I feel like I'm an expert, but the fact is that I've learned it inside and out. And even if I don't present it, now it's here. I've got it. So, next hill to take, right? Okay. So let's talk about purpose. And I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit of a conversation. So, what drives you? What gets you out of bed? What is your must?
My must is I feel like I was put on this planet to help create breakthroughs and miracles for anyone that crosses my path. That's why I got into NLP and doing breakthrough sessions, hypnotherapy. I love real estate. It provides our living. It's not the end all be all for me. The end all be all for me is the fact that I put mindset into the program because I love to watch people transform and transcend. You'll never see me hit snooze because I know that I'm going to impact lives today, and it's going to be a ripple effect, because whatever happens between us, then it cascades to other lives, and it enriches the whole human experience.
It does. Yeah. It's, the thing is that what's at the highest form of existence is service, right? I think that's right. And, helping people get a little bit better every day is something. I think Tony calls it the juice.
It is the juice.
Yeah. To get you cranking. I hear you on that one. How about you, Stacey?
Gosh, when all of this started 20 years ago at UPW, we went through the Dickens model, which is, and I went there actually kicking and screaming. The CEO of the company I worked for brought me there because he's like, I feel like you really like this. I was like, oh my God, this is so lame. But I got there and I was watching everyone jump up and down and I was like, what is that matter? Like an hour later, there's me.
Right.
Anyway,
I
totally joined the call. Anyway, but he walks us through something called the Dickens model. And that was, there's 10,000 people there. So it's not like he was talking to me, but my unconscious mind must have known there was something. And he's like, pick some area of your life and then close your eyes and go a year out. You've literally changed nothing. What does your life look like? Then 5 years, then 10 years, then 20 years. And it was during that process, it never occurred to me that I was on the wrong path. I had gone to college, I got my accounting degree. I went and worked at Arthur Andersen, which, at the time was a prestigious thing, but I got my CPA license. I was a controller for a public company. I was like, I am climbing the ladder. I am doing this. Let's go for it. And it was in that Dickens model thing that I was like, wow, I was picturing myself 20 years out. And I was like, I am miserable. I work 80 hours a week. I have a ton of money, but who cares? Who cares about money at that point? I have a couple kids that I don't know at all. But I didn't know what that meant. All I knew is, oh my God, I'm on the wrong path. The only vision I got for what the right path was so limited. And I was like, what the heck? And all I could do was I could see Tony on stage and I was like, I'm supposed to do that. What that was, I had no idea. Plus I was terrified of public speaking, terrified.
Now she won't shut up.
Now I won't shut up. It's true. I was doing a conference call on a recording by myself in a room at work as the controller. And I thought I was going to die of fear. I was that afraid of speaking. So when I got that vision of I'm supposed to do what Tony does, I was like, what? That's ridiculous. And then as time evolved, I realized it seemed to be, I'm like, oh, I love to speak and teach because of what I can do for people. And so I'm like, oh, that's what it is. I'm here to do this in the space of real estate. Yeah. And more recently, I've just learned that it might be real estate and it might be real estate and more. And as we continue to grow and ascend as human beings, it's like, who knows where this is going? But my purpose is really whatever I can do to help somebody step up to the next level or improve their life such that they're able to improve someone else's life. So we have a couple of students in the academy that when they started with us a few years ago, we've been watching them and now we've made them like junior coaches. So now it's not that person I got to affect because I helped them get real estate and learn it and all that stuff. Now they're able to help other people. And that freaking gets me excited.
Juiced.
I'm juiced.
Yeah, the juiced, right?
I feel like that's my purpose is lifting others up for what? I don't know, but it's real estate right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lifting other people up doesn't have to be one thing, right? And I strongly suspect, given both your personalities, that there's probably 3 or 4 things cooking right now, and they will lead to many other things down the road, which is really cool. Okay. So if you had to do it all over again, and some crackpot in Connecticut took a magic wand and wiped out your entire real estate portfolio, we'll leave the knowledge and courses and all that alone. But if we wiped out all of the real estate holdings, what would you do different to build it back?
I still have my knowledge.
Yep. You're still smart. Still know what you know.
Well, I wouldn't be messing around with single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, and quads. That's for damn sure. I'd be going straight after the 5 to 35 unit apartment complex. I would start with joint venture, get a couple under my belt, learn how to raise capital, and then go for syndication. And ultimately, I would not do that for a very long time. I honestly would do that till I got a baseline of cash flow to pay for my needs, while learning how to raise capital for other syndicators and be getting a piece of their deals, whether it's RV parks, mobile home parks, gas and oil, you name it, self-storage. I will raise money for those syndicators, which we do now. That way I have I'm deep in my wealth creation on my own portfolio, but then also I am being able to be diverse with other asset classes that I don't have to master, but I can raise for and have a general understanding of how it works, because I know that that's just put gas on the fire when you do it that way.
And it's simple. It's math, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a storage unit or a place where you can park your RV or a mobile home park or whatever, at that level, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is that you are being conservative with your investors' money and that you're taking good care of it. And, you're partnering with the right operators to be able to effectively execute whatever plan is in place. Simple. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Okay, cool. Stacey, would you add anything else?
Yeah, it's really that it's the identical thing. The only thing that I would be a little bit different in my path is because Jen's always like, why bother with all these little ones? But because some of the people that we teach do the smaller properties, it's really always been important to me to make sure that at the same time in the same market that I know what it's like to go through what they're going through. And so but it's not for the purpose of our investing. If it was the question is strictly investing, it's literally what Jen just described, because
but the rest of it, stuff it's just that they don't know yet, right?
Exactly.
And I think that, I probably took your question literal, meaning like if you took it away today in today's
I meant today. I meant right now.
I would jump straight into apartments, because right now investing in duplexes, triplexes, and quads and single family homes, the margin is like it's tough. So the ROI to me, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Yeah. So that's why I would start exactly with that pocket. Okay. If it was 4 years ago, I might have started with something smaller and worked my way into it. But if I have my same knowledge, I'm going for apartments every time. There's just more money.
That's the huge difference between somebody. I affectionately refer to them as dreamers, right? The folks that stop you at the grocery store and be like, hey, I would love to do what you do for a living. And, the obvious question then is, well, what's stopping you? And let me help, right? Yeah. And so what's separating you from them is 20 years of doing this. Yeah. And so, just a disclaimer for everybody out there, I am of a similar mindset to Jenn and Stacy. I would do the exact same thing. I would never mess with flipping because I needed a 12-step program to get off of it. But the fact is that, I've been doing this for 12, 13 years, and, Jenn and Stacy have been doing this for, 20. They started when they were in their, grade school. That's right. I think you were in junior high, right? 7th grade?
Sounds right. 4th grade.
Fourth grade. Oh, goodness. All right. My bad.
We're not much younger than you, but yes.
Well, I don't believe that, but that's okay. The fact is that you have to start somewhere, and, starting small. Best thing I ever did was buy that 4-family that I was the first deal I ever bought, because I learned how to, first off, I screwed everything up, but I only screwed it up on a small deal, and it was fixable. Yeah. And I learned, and I still own that property. In fact, it's going on the market next week, and because I'm trading up. But the fact is that you need to learn this stuff. You've got to. And the only way that I've seen as effective as possible is just go do it, right? Do it with guidance, do it with, a mentor or a set of mentors, but just start, take that first step, because you won't regret it ever. And I was terrified, but I've told the story multiple times on the show. So I'll tell you folks offline, but I blame my career on a woman who is literally a foot and a half shorter than I am. And she scared the crap out of me and forced me to move forward. But let's move on, because I'm going to digress. So when not talking about real estate, I'm talking about, your personal lives. What do you like to do? How do you spend your time?
In the RV with kids, camping, or playing board games. We're like that old married couple that likes to invite all of our friends over.
I've got Racco and Yahtzee sitting on my coffee table at home right now.
we are obsessed with Settlers of Catan. I don't even know if that's how you say it, Catan, however you say it, but that's a really cool game in our house right now. Or Sequence. We are, or what's the other one? Well, Cover Your Assets.
Oh, that was
one
fun.
Is awesome.
Oh, we play National Park Yahtzee.
Yeah, we
got that on a road trip.
We love to play games. Very cool. We love it so much that we actually have board game night at our events sometimes, where all the students do board games. Just get to know each other. It's fun.
A little competition, right? All right. So Jenn and Stacy, I've really enjoyed this conversation, and like I said, I could talk to you for days. But the last question I have is, if people want to learn more about you folks or the Remote Multifamily Investing Academy, what's the best way to do that?
I'm going to let you do this because you did it great last time.
Oh boy.
We have a resource page.
We do have a resource page. What I'd say is, depending on how people want to be involved, the events that we do live, that's what truly juices us, because we love seeing our people in person, and it's our students and the public. And those are called WowCon, Warriors of Wealth Conference. And that's wowcon.com. So we do that once a quarter. We have an event coming up in February in Orlando. That would be like, if you want to come and like be in our presence and let us speak into your life and give you an absolutely incredible transformational weekend and networking. If you're like, I just understand more about real estate or get to know a little bit more, we have a page. I realize now it's a little bit long. I probably need to create a bit.ly link, but we just figured that out today. But anyway, it's I will put it in the chat so that you have it for the future, but
everything will be in the show notes.
Okay. So it's rmfiaresources.com/podcasts. So RMFIA is Remote Multifamily Investing Academy, resources.com/podcasts. But we have you'll go to the page and there's a whole bunch of videos. And the idea is we try to put it in order, like as someone who's just kind of starting to get started in multifamily, where it's a logical sequence. And it's like our master classes that we've, done and, to create content for people. So that's a great place to go and learn. And yeah.
All right. Well, Jenn, Stacy, it's truly a pleasure to finally meet you. And thank you so much for this, this opportunity to speak with you and get to know you a little bit. And I wish you well and continued success.
Thank you for having us, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Likewise.
Awesome.
This has been the Real Estate Underground podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us grow. Until next time, happy investing. This has been the Real Estate Underground. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps us grow. Until next time, Undergrounders, remember your real estate journey begins with a simple step forward. Now get to it. Bye for now.